morning, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, and Justin.
Welcome to
apparently.
the Epic Film Guys podcast.
Is this the musical episode?
I sure as hell hope not, because I can't sing worth a shit.
Neither can I, and I didn't prepare for that, because I would have written songs about sucking dick.
I'm sure you would have. What's up, guys? My name's Epic Film Guy Justin.
And I am, of course,
yeah,
Epic Film Guy Nick. It's been a few weeks since we've had a show proper. We had Fan Celebration 3.0 last week. Thank you so much, Emily, for being on the show. We absolutely love you. Always an amazing time when she comes to town, Justin. And she didn't leave us without giving us a little gift to go away, Justin. Here she is. Take it away, Emily.
I sucked a dick last night.
Oh my God, that's the best one ever. Now, hold on now. Did you get her to approve that prior to putting that on the soundboard?
Yeah.
Yes. No,
Yes.
you didn't. You didn't. No, I don't know. You sounded unsure of that answer.
But yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're here. We've got trailers to talk about tonight. And I don't know, something came out, some movie that Justin was super excited to see. And he made me go see. He forced me under the heel of his boot. He said he was going to quit the show if I didn't go to the theater.
Well, it was that, Nick. It was that. And, well, you thought I was joking when I said I was going to put up a poll. Even though you thought it was stupid anyways, I said I'll put up a poll on our Facebook page.
I never found out what the results of that poll were, by the way.
Well, you had to go see it no matter what. But, I mean, I could actually look at it, but I'm too lazy to do it right now. So you lost. You didn't win. I can tell you that much.
I know I lost. Even without knowing the results, I know I lost.
You did. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure a lot of you helped vote on this poll. It was, should Nick see Black Panther? That's the film that he's so subtly mentioning there. That just, again, destroyed, blew up theaters this past week. And, of course, huge box office, as it should.
400 million globally. Jesus.
That's right. And it's looking for, I think, last I looked, the 5th biggest opening.
Yeah, it's up there.
Fantastic.
It's up there.
Fantastic. But so I had mentioned on the show weeks back that I was going to do a poll. Nick said they're stupid. Go ahead and do it. I still won't see the movie. I put up the poll. He still even said in the comments of the poll, I'm still not seeing it. And then he saw it. So I won. That's all. And of course, I wouldn't actually quit the show. No, Dan, I will not. But I would not have quit the show if he decided not to. I was battling the idea in my head. Well, I understand your morals against Marvel, but this is just a special movie and it came out during a special time. And I thought this should be the one that, if any of them that you have to see from now in the next couple of years, see this one. Mm-hmm. Because of the cast, the talent involved. But so again, we put up the poll and Nick lost miserably, but thanks for all of you out there, all of you listeners that voted on it. And yeah, you had a few people that voted no. I even know our good friend and patron of the show, Jared Taylor, voted no for you to see Black Panther.
But love
I'm actually surprised.
Jared. Nothing but love for you, baby.
He wants to spare you torture, I guess, or spare you pain, but I'd rather have you full of pain and being beaten.
Fist yourself!
Sitting in that frickin' doctor's chair, whatever the hell you call that thing at AMC
I had to
Vestal.
Not only did I see Black Panther, I had to see it in the shitty theater at AMC with the shitty exam table seats where I feel they're 5 feet long. I'm not kidding. And I'm 6'4". So if I lay down on one of these things, recline it all the way, I'm basically, my head's hanging off the back and my feet are hanging off the bottom. It's ridiculous. It's just insane. But I did go see it. As Justin,
I'd love to put up a poll and ask people what they think of the reclining seats. Do you prefer the reclining seats, Nick?
I do, sort of. I don't like to lay all the way back though and watch the movie. I like to still sit up a little bit. Like, so I only will kind of go maybe halfway, like where my back is just sort of tilted back and my legs are up. Like, I like to put my feet up, but not necessarily lay down. Like, some people get the whole thing reclining and they're like fucking laying in bed watching the movie in the theater, and that's a little too much for me.
Yeah, just didn't mean to cut you off there, but it just actually sprung to my mind real quick. I'm like, I wonder how many people actually like those seats, because I remember they were all the rage when they first came out, and like,
well,
especially
every theater's got them nowadays. Most theaters,
most of them do. Yeah, you're right. But a lot of them around here don't. So that's why I was curious, because I find it's hard sometimes to actually get comfortable in them. I don't know.
Well, I'll take a normal theater seat where I could order food and order beer during the show any day of the week. Like you can do at Alamo. I'll do that any day of the week over a reclining chair. I don't give a shit. So I'm still super jelly that I don't get to have those experiences up here in the southern tier of New York. But yes, I did see Black Panther. We're going to get into a full review and discussion later on in the show. But Justin, before we get there, there's a time-honored tradition here on the Epic Film Guys podcast where I like to ask you and you like to ask me, what are you drinking?
I'm back! Puke and rally! Woo! Give me a beer!
Okay, well, this is no surprise. No surprise at all. I've come to terms with the fact that I live 2 miles from this place, and I'm probably going to drink mostly their beers as long as I live that close. It is another Aslan beer. It is Aslan's The Implication Double IPA, and this is different from a lot of their other double IPAs in the sense that a lot of them are tropical, a lot of them are super juicy, which this has the juice, but this thing, it's basically like a lemon drop, okay? Huge notes of passion fruit and gooseberry, which I've tasted in other beers of theirs, but there's this lemongrass, so it gives it this really grassy feeling. It gives it this really grassy texture to it almost. And what came to mind immediately upon sipping my first sip of this beautiful beer, Nick, was this is what I want on a July day on a park bench or like a picnic table at a barbecue. I just keep picturing that for some reason. Like the sun's out, it's not too hot, it's about 80 degrees, and I'm just sipping this thing. It's beautiful, it's delicious. I just don't know why the hell they're releasing it in February, but God bless them for releasing a good beer, man. I'd love to save one of these for you because I know what you've got in your hand there. I'm pretty sure I know what you've got in your hand there, and this rivals it. But I'm going to ask very nicely. Excuse me, sir. What do you have there in your glass that you're drinking this evening?
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the high point of classiness on the show this evening.
Yeah, well, I don't think it gets any classier than that.
Yeah, it really doesn't. Through the patron-only segment, Justin, I had, and I've befriended one of the beer guys that's up at Wegmans. And he let me know that a rare beer, a beer that's very, very hard to acquire, was coming to Wegmans. They were only getting 11 cases of it. They were limiting how much you could buy from Lawson's Finest Liquids. I had, during that segment, their Sip O Sunshine. And my God, what a fantastic beer this is. It's a lot more floral, really. It says on here that it's also got like juicy tropical fruit characteristics. I don't necessarily get as much of that as I get the floral, but my God, is it an incredibly well-balanced IPA. But I moved on from that. I finished that. It's great. And that was my last one, so I'm super sad now. And now I'm going to move on to another beer that I'm also having the last one of. And I bought a case of this when they did their first release of the year, and this is my last one. I'm so sad about this right now. I'm drinking Upstate Brewing's 2018 ale. Now, if you've listened to the show for a long time, you know I've talked about their 2016 and their 2017 ale. This is the same series. They'll do a couple different hops every year, or they'll try a couple different things, but they don't really change the base recipe of this. They still brew it with a huge, huge batch of local honey. All right, so this is a New England IPA, Justin, which I know you would love, and I can't wait. Next time they do a release of this, I'm going to get you like a whole 4-pack of it so you can just have a bunch of it. Last time I saved some for you, you fucking drank both of them as soon as you got back to Daniel's parents'
I did within the same day, dude. Actually, it was like in a matter of a couple hours.
I was expecting you were going to take them home and like have one on this show, and you're like, oh no, dude, I fucking drank those as soon as I got back.
How could I resist, dude? You know how good they are. How am I going to take them home? It's sitting there in
incredible. Just notes of tropical fruit right up front. It's very subtle bitterness. You don't get a big hop punch. Of course, it's New England IPA, so that's the whole point. You don't get that super hoppy bitter punch, but my God, this continues to be my favorite beer, my favorite series of beers. And yeah, I splurged when they told me the limit used to be 4-packs, and now it's 6. So when they told me it was a whole case, I was like, well, I'm buying a whole fucking case then.
Why not, dude? Seriously.
I mean,
No,
but
I'm
it's
sure
so
you
good.
remember that I did ask you to save me one of those, and I got no response, which I immediately realized meant that you were not going to save me one. But I understand why you wouldn't. Who knows when I'll even get up there? There's no way I could force you to have that sitting in your fridge and not drink
it's a little bit different for me than it is for you, because Aslan, whenever you see these beers, a lot of times you never see them again. But for this stuff, it's a quick ride out there for me. I don't have to wait in some ridiculous line like you do for Aslan. And they do like 3 or 4 releases of this a year. So next time I get out there, I'm definitely going to save you some of this. But Justin, speaking of beer, just before the show tonight, literally about a half an hour before we started recording, I just finished the boil on what I am calling Epic Film Guys Dumpster Juice. Uh-huh.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Is this what I think it is? Are you being serious?
Epic Film Guys Dumpster Juice. This is going to be my first crack at a New England style IPA.
Whoa.
And I ordered a literal shitload of beer supplies. I've got stuff to make. I found a really, really cool recipe that's supposed to be like a clone of Heady Topper that I'm going to try. I haven't brewed that one yet. And I've also got enough stuff to make a chocolate milk stout. I've got to get some lactose for that first, but other than that, I'm ready to make that. And then I've got a bunch of other ingredients to make a bunch of other smaller batches. But this was just, I wanted to make something New England style. Very, very heavy hop-wise on the back end. I can't wait. Can't wait to see how this beer turns out. I'm super excited about it, but I'm super disappointed as well because that Belgian that I brewed, that I've talked about, still not carbonated. Still, I think the problem is it gets kind of cold in the closet that I keep them in if we don't have the door open because it's wintertime and it just sits on like a concrete slab back there. So I just think that the yeast is kind of not being as active as it should. So I think I'm just going to give it a couple more weeks. I tried one of the bottles that I did today because I did 2 full 6-packs of bottles, one for you. One of them's for you to take home with you. But I tried one of the bottles to see if maybe because I used the fizzy drops in that, if that one had carbonated, and that one didn't either. So I was really, really surprised. So I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. Hopefully after maybe another 2 or 3 weeks, I'm going to kind of jostle it around a little bit, try to wake that yeast up, try to reinvigorate it, see if I can get that great. But man, that beer tastes fantastic. Even not carbonated. Like, it kind of sucks because you're drinking a flat beer essentially. But man, the flavor of it's good. So I really, really hope the carbonation does pick up. I can wake that yeast up and get it moving. But yeah,
sounds good, man.
Dumpster juice, baby.
I'm proud of you for you've been keeping it up, man. A lot of people start brewing and they like stop. They just fool around. They're like, nah, that wasn't for me. You've consistently kept going throughout. And so,
and you know what it is? Because I haven't licked it, and I'm determined to. I know I can make exceptional beer. I just have to get the process right, and I have to get the chemistry of it right. And I just haven't gotten there yet. I've been brewing for a little over a year now, I think. But yeah, I wanted to try something New England style. I really, really hope it turns out well. But I'm going to send you, especially if it turns out well, and maybe even if it doesn't, I'm going to send you home with like 2 6-packs of it because I made a full 5-gallon batch of this shit. I really, really hope it turns out. So yeah, Dumpster Juice is coming, baby. Dumpster Juice is coming.
That sounds awesome. I love that name. I'm sure the Hopester would too. I'm surprised the fact that he's not showing up yet after that was spoken. That's crazy. But maybe he'll show up later. I don't know.
At some point.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. But that's fantastic, man. I want to try it right now. I mean, I got my Aslan, but
it was kind of weird too because like the hop schedule, because I followed a recipe sort of, like I didn't have the same ingredients, but I followed kind of the same steps. And for a New England, like from all the recipes that I've read, very little upfront hopping. All of the hops are massively done on the back end, either after you turn off the heat or dry hopping. All of it's on the back end. And that's why you don't get a lot of bitterness in New England IPAs. It makes sense because you're not doing a lot of upfront bittering. Everything's on the back end. So I just thought that was really cool. So I'm super, super, super excited to see how it turns out. I really, really am. God, I love beer. God, I love talking about beer. I love brewing beer. I love drinking beer. But
so wait, is your next spin-off podcast just going to be just about beer?
Yeah, Jesus
so you've got
Christ.
Restaurant, you've got Epic Film. It's just going to be
no. Oh my
beer,
God, I would die if I tried to do another. I'm not a good enough brewer to do beer, And we already do beer as part of the Epic Film Guys, so I wouldn't even. No, oh my god, I don't even have the time for that. I don't even have the time to do restaurant. Like honestly, fortunately, restaurant takes me all of about 2 hours to record, edit, and release. So it's a pretty quick process. Which restaurant's about to wrap season 2 next week, and I'm actually going to be talking about Oscar food, finger foods, little snack foods for the Oscars. So I'm super excited about that, and I get to talk about wings that I had at the Old Union Hotel. Which,
oh man, you know how much I miss wings from there? It's every time I go there, dude. Every time that I'm in town, I go to the Union pretty much. You don't go with. I've never been to the Union with you, but I usually go. It's like late at night. I'm out and about, going downtown or whatever. And every time I go there, I say that I'm going to get wings, and then by the time I get there, I've already had another handful of drinks, and I'm like, no, I'm just going to drink while I'm here because I know if I eat, I won't drink anymore, and I'm just going to go home and go to bed, and I can't eat those wings and then keep going. But
and they're wings that eat like a fucking meal too. Like you can't.
They're so good.
Get them as an app, but they're the best wings on the planet. I will put them against any wing I've ever had anywhere, hands down. They are amazing.
Wow, but that's something coming from you, man.
That's next week on the Restaurant podcast. So check that out if you want to. I guess.
When you were there, did they get any new good beers, or was it all the same shit they've had forever?
No, they have like 1 or 2 IPAs and stuff. Like they had a beer list like scrawled out on a chalkboard, but they didn't even have the brewery name listed. So they had just like chocolate stout written on the board, and I'm like, well, what the fuck from where? Like chocolate stout, that could be like any one of 1,000 different breweries. Like, well, how does that help me? So yeah, it was just like, all right. Try harder next time. No, their beer list is still pretty dismal. Like a couple of IPAs. Like they had what was that? I mean, they have like Southern Tiers IPA, and then they had one other one. I think it was one of the Lagunitas IPAs. I'm not sure which one. But the chocolate stout, I can't remember who the chocolate stout was, but I opted not to get it after I heard which one it was. I can't remember which brewery it was. They told me the brewery, and I was like, nah.
No, I don't want that shit.
That is a great place, though. One of my favorite places to go because those wings are to die for.
It's so weird, though. I have to blab on about it, but the weirdest thing is like, when I was still living there, we were still hanging out. You never mentioned that place ever. I'd go there all the time. I don't even know if I mentioned it to you, but now... You know what?
I don't think I'd ever been there until after you moved. I don't think I'd ever been there until after you moved. Honestly,
that's got to be what it was. Because I mean,
so.
Like I said, every single time I come into town, anytime I go downtown Binghamton, that's like the place I go afterward because it's quiet. There's like no one there, really. There's only a handful of people there, unless there's a band or something. And I at least see 1 or 2 people that I know.
Yeah.
Like last time I was there,
That's you whenever we go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, whenever I have ever gone anywhere in this city with Justin, we will walk into a place and there are a minimum of 8 to 10 people that know him and immediately come up to him, shake his hand, hug him, whatever. And usually when you hang out with Justin in the Binghamton area, you go out for a beer, it's usually you making awkward conversation with one of his other friends that happens to be there while he wanders around the bar and mingles.
It's true, unfortunately.
He knows literally everyone in this fucking town. Literally everyone. So you
I'm not sure I'm proud of that, though.
You can't really hog him to yourself. You could try. You could be like, God damn it. And like, there have been times when I've gone out with him and I'm like, where the fuck did he go? Like, I'll be sitting there talking to whomever out, like Woodsy or, whomever else, like a bunch of different people that I've met whose names I can't remember because I have seen them that one time in my life. But yeah, there's a number of times when I'm like, where the fuck's Justin? And usually he's like out back trying to bum a cigarette off somebody.
Hey, now that's not true. That's not true at all.
Hey, that was way back in the day. That was way back in the day. Way back in the day. That was even pre-EFG days. That was back just, when we still talked about movies all the time, but we didn't record it and force all you guys to listen to it.
That's correct. That was the way we used to talk about movies. I think that was their way of saying, when they said, you guys should do a show, that was their way of saying, like, hey, go do a show somewhere else so I don't have to listen to it anymore.
I really think Speaking of which, this is a movie podcast, not a social hangout beer drinking podcast, is it? I don't know.
I guess. I mean, hanging out with us like this and just listening to us talk like this is just like being with us. So I mean,
it really is, because we'll
get to movies eventually.
We'll talk about something else for like the briefest of time, and then it'll be like, oh, did you see this? And then literally a movie conversation starts that never ends. So that's what you get whenever you hear the Epic Film Guys podcast, especially, like I said, this is our first real episode, like our first actual episode of the Epic Film Guys podcast in the past couple of weeks. So we're going to take a little break. And when we come back, Justin, I guess is it time? Is it time to talk Black Panther?
It's time. It's time. It's Black Panther time.
I was hoping you were going to start singing there.
No, not again.
God
I don't want to sing for you.
I sucked a dick last night.
Well, that's kind of
sure
musical,
you did,
though.
Nick. I'm sure you did.
That wasn't me. That was you. I heard you say it.
I didn't suck a dick last night.
Oh, well, now you're contradicting yourself, and I don't know what to believe.
Nope. See?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we take a little break for some EFG history, and then we'll be back to talk Black Panther.
We'll be right back.
This week in Epic Film History.
They're doing some kind of a horror festival in 35
Oh,
millimeter.
horror. Okay, I thought you said horror festival. Like there were a bunch of horrors lined up for you.
If I could afford a whore, you better believe I'd be getting laid right now and not talking to you. But hey, that's how it works. That gentleman, he invited me to a 35 millimeter screening of An American Werewolf in London. And I'm hoping I get to go there, because I heard that a lot of rich people go there, and they go to see these horror movies, and they unload buttloads of cash. And they be all stand out front, and they be all even get in the movie and get some warmth. I'll be able to sleep in the theater. I don't know. Ask that Sherwood gentleman about it. He said that movie Critters is showing An American Werewolf in London. You'll have to ask him.
Guess what, Nick? I'm going to actually say something bad about it. I don't think that what she did in Ghost is... Shut up, Nick. Guess what? I'm here, and I want you to shut your fucking mouth right the fuck right now.
Each Oscar is 13.5 inches. Come on, Justin's list. Come on, Justin's list.
He's not ready. I don't think he's ready yet, but he might come out because he does like bald guys. And you're talking about 13-inch bald guys.
Svelte, yeah.
I know, 13.5 inches.
Respectable.
And weighs 8.5 pounds.
Damn, you can murder someone.
I know, that's why a lot of speeches, they remark of, oh, this is
They hold it
heavy.
with, like, 2 hands.
Yeah, they're like, oh, I didn't think it would be this heavy. So that's about how heavy a gallon of milk is, to give you an idea. Or the human head, if you happen to be holding a human head.
But hey, fuck the Epic Film Guys. They haven't been feeding me nothing. I ain't been drunk in less
We don't
than 2
feed
days.
you anyway. You find all your food in the dumpster behind McDonald's. What the fuck am I supposed to do?
It's getting warmer down here. A lot of people are throwing out half-eaten burgers, but it's at Wendy's, which ain't as good as McDonald's.
Yeah,
so I
feel you
deal,
there. I don't
know?
like eating cardboard either.
So it is what it is. But hey, fuck you guys for not inviting me on or giving me a piece of the proceeds of your show. I hate you bastards. I wish I got onto a rich podcast that had lots of money.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for sticking with us and hanging out with us here on the Epic Film Guys podcast.
We love you.
The time is here. It's here. It's happening. Nick saw Black Panther. Thanks to you and your votes on that poll on our Facebook page. We have a full show this evening. I'm so glad you guys voted yes for Nick to see the film. That's right. Nick went and saw a Marvel film. We're talking about Black Panther, that is. And we're going to get right into it, right into the nitty gritty here.
I'm going to dig deep in. And just to let everybody know, in case this is your first time listening to the show and you're not used to how the Epic Film Guys do reviews, we don't care about spoilers. We're going to talk about this film. We're going to discuss this film in depth. We're going to dive deep into this bad boy. So, spoiler warning! Exclamation point.
I'm going to say this much, Nick, before we lead into the review here. Go back to Civil War. A lot of people like that film. You yourself included.
I gave it an 8 out of 10.
You did. And I love that film. It's one of my favorite Marvel films of the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Remember what the standout of Civil War was, Nick?
Spider-Man.
other than Spider-Man. I mean, let's face it. Spider-Man was one of those.
He stole the scene
there.
in when he showed up in the film, but the standout throughout that film was Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa. Yes, it absolutely was. Yep.
Ever since that moment, when I watched that film, I could not wait to see the Black Panther solo film. This is a character that has been in development hell for years upon years upon years. I mean, all the way back to 1992, Nick, when Wesley Snipes was originally rumored to be playing the character that was in development.
No.
This is just a character that's been waiting to hit the big screen for so long. And we got that first taste in Civil War. Chadwick Boseman perfectly cast in the role. He looked badass. He was badass. He kicked some ass. I could not wait for this movie. And maybe eight or so months ago when we got our first trailer of this movie, we were pretty adamant on the show that neither of us were huge fans of the trailers.
No, not really. And I've been to stick it right in here. I mean, I have been very vocal about my not just anti-Marvel but anti-superhero sentiments. I've kind of said I'm done with the genre. I've kind of said that it doesn't have anything else to offer me. None of these films do anything. Justice League was a fucking disaster of incredible proportions, and that completely just made me check out of DC, who I was at least still a little bit okay with. And I'd written this off. I haven't seen Doctor Strange. I haven't seen Spider-Man Homecoming, and I went into this with the lowest of expectations because I mean, again, I just think that superhero films have moved on from me. I really, really think they have. But before we start diving into like the meat of this and what we actually thought about it, Justin, why don't you tell us what it's about?
T'Challa, also known as the Black Panther, the King of Wakanda, rises to the throne in the isolated, technologically advanced African nation known as Wakanda, but his claim is challenged by a vengeful outsider who was a childhood victim of T'Challa's father's mistake. Ooh, it sounds like a soap opera. It almost does.
A little bit. I mean, a little bit, yeah.
There's a lot of drama in there. There's totally a lot of drama in there. You know what we're going to do? Let's open it on up here because I've been really just holding it all in for the whole weekend. I realize that when I spout off at the mouth on social media or when you do the same, it kind of ruins our initial reactions to each other on the show. So that's I kept mum about it on social media, and I haven't really talked to anybody about my feelings about the film. So I'm going to throw it to you, though. I got to get it out of the way here. We know who we're dealing with here on the show. What were your initial thoughts on Black Panther?
I don't know what you're inferring, Justin. Like, what are you saying? That
I'm shaking. I'm shaking. I'm worried. I don't know. I don't know what you're going to say, man. I have a feeling I know what you're going to say, but.
All right. Well, here it is. I fucking love this movie. I'm glad I went to see it. I'm really, really glad I went to see it. I had some issues with it. We'll talk about them. There's definitely some issues here, but this is, if you strip everything else away from it and you just look at the photography in this film, the cinematography, Rachel Morrison does an incredible job. And Justin, I got to get it out of here in the front. And I know you feel the same way because this I did see on social media somewhere. Ludwig Göransson. The score in this fucking film is incredible.
Yeah, dude.
Beyond belief. And there's a lot to talk about with the performances here. They did a lot of great things in this film. I was super surprised when I came out of this film exactly how much I enjoyed it. Like I said, I have some issues. I want to talk about. But
I do too. I won't lie.
Not your typical Marvel fare for me. This was elevated a few steps. In terms of your normal Marvel fail, it really felt like everybody tried to bring not just their A game, but like their fucking A+ game. Like they really wanted to knock this one out of the park. And my God in heaven, did they? What a fucking movie this was.
Let's just make this clear. So I just want to make this as open as possible to our listeners. And don't delete this. Don't remove this. Don't edit this out. So let's make this clear. Nick, you liked a Marvel movie.
I liked a Marvel movie. I had to defend myself over on Facebook, over in Dumpster, because I put up a poll, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later, because we're going to be giving away some prizes related to this review a little bit later. But I had to talk about it because I think Gerald guessed that I was going to rate this film like a 4 out of 10, and he said, I hate everything. And I had to say, I did rate at least one Marvel movie a 10 out of 10. So it's not that I hate all Marvel films. It's just that I have big problems with a lot of them. But this one, not as many as most. So this one was a real treat for me. And I really enjoyed a lot of aspects of this film, a lot more than I really expected to, which was a breath of fresh air for me, especially going forward with this whole MCU thing into Infinity War. I actually kind of almost want to see Infinity War now.
Well, I mean, now there's an excuse. Now you just said it, so now you have an excuse to have to see it. I mean, and we know Black Panther is going to be part of that as well. And
oh yeah,
I can't tell you enough, man, how happy I am. I literally, if we were doing this, doing a video recording of this, not that you'd be able to see them, but when you just said that you loved this, I had goosebumps all over me, like my arms and my back. Like, it makes me happy because it gives me hope, Nick, that comic book movies can transcend. And this was the best example of that for me.
Yeah.
A lot of comic book movies, it's all the same, or, they're good, they're solid. They go through the motions, and not saying that Black Panther didn't to some extent. We'll get to that. Yeah. But the one thing that Black Panther perfectly did, and I really give all the credit to Ryan Coogler for this. He was the perfect man for the job.
Yes.
Dude, he took me and he transported me for 2 hours to a place called Wakanda, where I didn't think about what I was going to do after I left the theater. I didn't think about anything else other than this world that was perfectly developed, that that was living, breathing. It was alive, man.
Well, and think about what it does. It transports you, and I've read a lot of other people that reacted the same way to this, but think of how African this film is, how much of it is rooted in African culture, in African customs. A lot of that kind of stuff you never get to see in film, and it was super amazing to see all of these different, the costuming in this film is incredible. The photography in this film is incredible. It's such a beautiful film. I kind of likened this, and I kind of thought about this as I was walking out of the theater. I kind of likened this almost to a Mad Max Fury Road situation, where it's so beautiful without saying a word, without saying anything. Like, it's just so well realized. Even when you get into the lower tech stuff, when you get to, just like I said, the costuming and all that, and then you get to the higher technological stuff, all the digital effects and stuff that they use in this film, all of it is super on point. It's incredible. And we're going to suck this movie's dick a lot tonight, I feel. So I'm going to pitch it over to you first, and why don't we start running through the cast list here? Why don't we start getting through some of these performances, because I've got a lot of high points to hit here, and standouts for you in terms of the performances here. Hit me with it. I hate to be the guy that gives the one up to the villain, but man, Michael B. Jordan, god damn it, dude, is he a fucking beast or what? I loved him. He's Eric Killmonger in this. He is easily one of the best young actors working in Hollywood today. Easily one of the best. With Creed, I mean, we saw him in Creed, and God forbid that fucking shit show that Josh Trank did with the fucking Fantastic Four.
Dude, think about it.
He was good.
I thought it was funny. I saw this meme floating around that said, I think Robert Moreno posted it, was like 2 Human Torches finally redeemed themselves, and yeah, that's what it is. But I've always loved him. I've always thought he was fantastic, and I saw someone post this earlier, and I actually like this. They said, someday you will liken Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler to Scorsese and De Niro. And I get that, because these guys have been a team. Fruitvale Station, Creed, and now Black Panther. Even though B. Jordan plays a side character, he plays the villain, he's not the main character in the film. I mean, I felt the same feeling that I want to feel, Nick, when I'm invested in a villain, and a villain that I love. The moment this guy's on screen, he literally just captures and grabs every scene that he's in.
Perfect word for him.
And he, dude, menacing, powerful, threatening, yet you feel sympathy, you feel empathy for this character. You understand him. You know where he's coming from. The setup was great. My only issue is that I feel like we didn't get enough of him, but that's always the case with villains. But I still felt his presence throughout the film whenever he wasn't there. And we talked about it over in the Hopster's Dumpster, but dude, he legit gained like 10, 15 pounds of muscle just for this role. He looked big in Creed. Dude, he looked way bigger than Chadwick Boseman.
Stacks on stacks.
I think they did that on purpose, to make him look like a more formidable foe. But dude, I literally can't say enough about how much I loved him as a villain, and how I thought Marvel's finally on the right path. I feel like with the last few films, how to treat their villains.
They're getting there.
They nailed it. They're nailed it with this one. I feel like he was almost there.
I think they're getting there, and not to take anything away from Michael B. Jordan's performance because it was fantastic, but I think that I there's a couple narrative issues that I have with this film. The second act being a big one because I feel like this film is a little over long. This film clocks in at roughly 2 hours and 20 minutes, and I feel like you could have probably easily shaved about 10 or 15 of those out of this if they could have rejiggered a couple of things plot-wise. But I think the film's biggest disservice is that Killmonger really only gets a blip or two in like the first half of this film before really becomes a force. And after seeing what he did in the back half of this film, like how great he was and how great it was to see him in this role, I really think they needed to kind of spread that out a little bit more. I really think that they needed to give him even more. And it's not that they didn't give him, he sank his teeth into the material that he got. He really did. He is, like I said, he's one of the best young actors working today. He really is. He's phenomenal in everything I've ever seen him in. Knocks it out of the park beyond. But I think that the script does him a little bit of a disservice here because the script really focuses on Wakanda and on T'Challa specifically for like the first half of the film. And you only get kind of like a normal Marvel film. The first half of this film for me was like normal Marvel fare. Like I was watching it and I was like, oh, this film better not keep going this way. And it was the second half of this film that really redeemed it for me.
Really?
Yep,
I'm surprised about that because, well, we'll get into it when we get there, but I really felt like the first two acts were the strongest for me. But again, we'll get there when we get there. But
it's not that they were without their merits. I mean, there were some good things to talk about in the first parts of those, but we can't go any further, Justin, I feel, without talking about the man himself. I feel like we've got to talk about Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa. Of course.
I feel like I really couldn't handpick a better option for this character. I think he was fantastic. I loved him in Civil War, and I think that honestly, this is a character, and this is an actor playing this character. I'd love to see 2 more films with him in the role. I'd love to see a bunch more films with him in the role because he perfectly captures everything about this character that makes it who it is. Dude, he's noble. And the first thing that I walked away from when I saw this is I was like, very rarely, Nick, do we root for such a noble hero. Yeah. All this guy cares about is his land and his people and Wakanda, and he's so steadfast at just making sure he protects the legacy of Wakanda and what his father set out to do. I can't really say much else other than the fact I just thought he did a great job.
Well, and I'll tell you why I think that this works in contrast to Michael B. Jordan's performance. Michael B. Jordan's performance is a lot more showy. There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of expressiveness behind it. Chadwick Boseman has a lot more of a kind of quiet dignity role that he has to play here, and he's far more stoic, I would say, and I think that he pulls it off fantastically. Even when they're doing the challenge, the battle, for him to actually ascend to the throne, like even when they do that, there's just this kind of quiet, just stoic ability about this character where he's very calming. His presence and all of his dialogue, just the presence that he carries on screen is so calming. Like
even when he's fighting,
even
when he's about to fight someone, there's no sense of anger. He's just very calm and reserved and very well trained. He plays it perfectly.
No, you're right. He absolutely does. He plays it perfectly. And I can't say enough good things about him. You're absolutely right about Civil War. He was a standout in that. He absolutely stole pretty much every scene he was in. And to come into this film where he now has to shoulder the entire burden of this film, going into it, I was like, I know Boseman's going to be great. I'm really excited to see what he does with it. And then he even topped my expectations for him going into the film. So that to him is just an amazing credit. Again, one of the best actors that we have working today. The cast that they assembled for this film, and we can talk about a lot of the other people that they threw into this cast as we go down the list here. But the 1-2 punch that they got of Boseman and Jordan to play your protagonist and your main antagonist in this film, absolutely fantastic. But I want to move on from them, if you don't mind.
No, for sure, dude. We got a lot of great people in this cast. A lot of great people.
I want to talk the 2 standouts for me. The biggest standouts for me in this cast was Danai Gurira, who plays Okoye, and Letitia Wright, who plays his sister Shuri. Man.
I feel like, man,
they made this movie way better than it had any business being. Danai Gurira, of course, is huge on The Walking Dead. Probably one of the only reasons anybody still watches that show, because she plays Michonne on the show. And she's a massive badass in that, and is a massive badass in this. Like, dude, she's fucking incredible in this movie. She's great. I loved her.
She was a scene stealer, man. She was a scene. Anytime that I saw her on the screen, I was just my mind. My eyes were just set upon her and couldn't wait to see what she was going to do next. Such a powerful character. Yeah. Again, going back to the whole word noble. I mean, all of these characters, all of our heroes at least, were very noble. And she was just a pure badass, dude. You don't get female characters like that very often in Marvel movies, unless they're just completely overshadowed. And I feel like she stole the show every single scene she was in.
She did, and not only did she steal the show every time she was in a scene, but more so than she did, Letitia Wright as Shuri. How great was this character? I mean, she's basically Q. Like, right off the bat, you immediately picked it up.
Dude, she's smarter than Tony Stark. I feel like her tech in her mind. Like, dude, I feel like I'm like, dude, eat your heart out, Tony Stark. I really hope that they get like some kind of scene with her and Stark together in a future movie, just because like her tech, like I feel like she would even put him in his place. I feel like it would be fucking great. She, more than anybody else in this film, absolutely stole every scene she was in, and she was fantastic. Her chemistry with Boseman, especially, just incredible. She's going places. That girl is going places. She is a phenomenal actress. She's phenomenal. She's got a very specific look that's different from a lot of other African-American actresses. And she's got this vibe to her. And the thing that was so awesome is seeing her play off of Boseman, who he's playing, T'Challa's like the straight man. He's the king. He kind of makes little tiny jokes here and there. And she's so playful and so, forthright and outgoing, and I loved it. I loved the back and forth between the two of them.
Well, dude, and she has all those great moments, like when they first return to Wakanda, and then she's walking away from the camera and she's flipping them off, and then like later on when they're in the battle scene and they're like asking if anybody wants to challenge him, she raises her hand and then she's like, "Can we get this wrapped up?" Really, I know.
Quick, I laughed. For a second, I was like, "Wait a minute, is this really happening?" That immediate chuckle.
She's great. Oh my God. They're fantastic. And just, she's been on my radar ever since 12 Years a Slave, but Lupita Nyong'o, dude.
Yeah, man.
Ooh, man.
Finally getting a chance to shine here.
Number one.
I love the fact that she's in the Star Wars movies, but dude, get her on the screen.
Can we talk about how just captivatingly gorgeous she is? Like, first of all,
she's amazing.
Get that right out there.
Dude. Seriously,
man,
for real. And I didn't even, honestly, I won't lie to you. I was following the film pretty well, but I didn't realize until a little bit way through it that they had previously dated, I think until the line was even mentioned of dialogue. And I was like, oh, I get it now. Okay, ex-girlfriend. Yeah. When he, it was one of my favorite scenes of the film when he goes to rescue her. We'll talk about standout scenes in a little bit, but she was great too. Her chemistry with Boseman was fantastic. And that's the one thing. There was not one scene here where I felt like in the entire film where there was no chemistry. I felt like everyone just knew what they were doing.
What a cast.
Seriously.
Man, Coogler just knocked it out of the park with this cast. They're fantastic, and I loved seeing Sterling K. Brown show up in this. Of course, I'm a huge fan of This Is Us, which he has won like a fucking truckload of awards for already. And even though it's a small role, much smaller,
he's a small role. I mean, he's also in American Crime Story, The People versus O.J. Simpson. Yep. I loved him in that. He was fantastic in this as well. And we have Angela Bassett showing up. She's a veteran, dude. She was fantastic.
Oh, she's so good.
She's so brilliant in this, and Forrest Whitaker too, man. I mean, he's been getting some good roles lately. I mean, there was a span there where he was getting some shit to nothing to do, but now he's
a god amongst men. I will watch Forrest Whitaker watch paint dry. I fucking love that dude. Ever since I really took a shine to him when he was on The Shield, and he was like,
oh, so that's why you like him so much.
Oh, dude, he was great in that show. He was amazing in that show, and like a lot of his film roles even have been really, really incredible. I mean, he got wasted in Rogue One. We all know he got incredibly wasted as Saw Gerrera in that film, but this film...
spoiler alert, I mean, he gets killed in that, and he gets killed in this too. Early. He doesn't see the end of the film, man. He's dead before it.
That's very true. You know what? One other standout that I want to mention here is Winston Duke as M'Baku, the leader of like the mountain tribe.
Dude, he's amazing, dude. He's on the radar for an actor to watch. He's hilarious. That was, again, another standout scene for me when he challenges T'Challa, the Black Panther, to take the throne. That fight scene was probably my favorite fight scene in the entire film because it had energy. It captivated you, and there was a good real bit of sense of suspense. To that scene too. Oh yeah, definitely tension and suspense because you didn't really know what was going to happen. He's huge, dude. Oh, he has a presence.
He's a Hulk of a man. Woo.
I loved it. He was fantastic. And you know what? I think it's time, though, real quick here. Let's talk about those two white characters that we have. The two. Because imagine that, though. Seriously, this is awesome, though, because even though they're kind of shoved in here a little bit, to an extent, I'll explain. We only have two white main little side characters, I should say, that we have to deal with in the film, where the whole rest of the cast is African American, and they're all so great. Like you said, Ryan Coogler, I feel like Marvel just said, handpick whoever you want and we'll pay for them. You know, to get whoever you want. We want to make this film special. It shows with the cast. But we have Andy Serkis as Ulysses Klaue, and we have Martin Freeman as Everett Ross.
And I think the only thing I'll say about Freeman is he is very much the fish out of water character here. He's kind of meant to be like that audience surrogate in some of those scenes where he's, seeing all the Wakanda tech for the first time. But really, more so, his purpose in this film isn't even to be the audience surrogate. It's to be that MCU common thread. I mean, obviously, of course, the Black Panther was in Civil War, but you didn't really get to see anything else about this entire world. But I think that's why they threw Ross in this film, because the film doesn't really need him. If you think about it.
No, I totally agree. That's the one thing that I want to get off my chest, because I felt like the film could have been fine without him, and it was not necessary. I liken it to, because at the end of the film, we have him flying a ship to try to blow up a few Wakanda ships that are headed out to go send equipment out to the real world,
and he puts his life on the world, which is great, which is a great move for that character.
It just reminded me of the end of Batman Begins when Gordon gets in the Tumbler and he's trying to learn how to drive it, and I don't know how to do this. Oh my god,
it's a great comparison.
That's how I pictured it. But I thought Freeman was good in it. He was fine. I'll leave him at that. He was fine.
But like I said, he was meant to be that MCU through line. He's meant to be your MCU,
and I'm glad he's the only one,
character.
Really. I'm happy to say he's like the only thing, really. We'll get to that in a little bit too, though. But dude, I got to tell you, I thought Serkis was fantastic as Klaue.
I'm gonna get mad. I'm gonna get mad right now because I'm so pissed that they killed him. I'm so pissed that they killed him off in this film, even though it made sense for Killmonger's character.
Dude, the way they killed him was such a I didn't like it. I didn't like the way they killed him.
I really,
it was a bitch out.
Serkis is just so good in the role. So good. He owns the entire first act of this movie. Like the entire thing. And then when he dies, it was kind of a shock because I was really hoping they'd keep him around for the future. And, it's a comic book movie, so who knows what could happen or whatever. But Jesus Christ, is Serkis good in this role. Oh my God.
It just leads me to believe, man. Like, come on, give this man. I mean, he's great at the mocap stuff. I'm shocked at the Oscars. Fuck you, Oscars. Give this guy his Oscar already for his mocap work. And hey, directors, casting agents, give this guy more work to do on his own without having to put mocap on.
He has the most delicious amount of fun with this fucking role possible. I was dying every time he was on screen. And then that was the great thing, because there is that little bit of continuity because he comes in from Age of Ultron. You've seen him before.
That's right.
So you're aware of this character, so you're not really aware of who Jordan's character is or whatever's going on. So for him to swerve and kill Serkis, like I said, it makes complete sense. It's a great part of Killmonger's character arc, but I just to take that away from the MCU, to take Ulysses Klaue out of the MCU now, I feel was a huge disservice.
Dude, he was one of the most fun Marvel villains to watch.
God, I'd
love to see him, dude, cause more problems, blow up more buildings, shoot at more people. I mean, that's the kind of villain I want. I mean,
good too.
he's having so much fun on screen, and you can see it. And anytime he was on screen, I was like, dude, this is why this film is so special to me, Nick, because you know how we are about villains. And I feel like for the most part, they nailed all aspects of the villains in this, but I can't move on yet until we mention Daniel Kaluuya, who played Wakabi.
Great to see him in this.
From Get Out. I was actually surprised because I will not lie to you, I totally forgot he was in this. So to see him in this, and he played
a great performance, and it was more of a secondary character. Like he wasn't,
definitely.
You know, he didn't have a bigger, more showy role or anything like that, but he's still fantastic in it. Again, one of the best young actors that's working today. Like really great. This film is stacked with a lot of amazing young talent. It really, really is.
Totally agree. So we got the cast down, man. We're all pretty happy about the cast. Imagine this. This is a dream lineup of a cast. Like, you don't get this very often.
Yeah.
What were some standout scenes for you?
I would say you already mentioned the first challenge fight where M'Baku challenges him to the throne. I think that's a fantastic scene. I like the opening action sequence, and I liked the car chase with Claw early on in the film. I really like that. I will say that I think that the action set pieces and the action sequences in this film got worse as the film went on. And
okay, I will agree with you. We'll be getting to the end one.
the challenge fight between Killmonger and T'Challa, I think that's a great scene when he's challenging him for the throne and everything. That scene was fantastic. The final battle scene, I guess we can move into it now.
Let's get it out of the way. Let's ladies and gentlemen, let's do it.
Just devoid of energy for me.
It's mediocre.
Yeah,
that's one of the
meh.
That's one of the things that I walked away from, and I knew a little bit because Loy Sauce, that's correct, the god of podcasting himself, had seen the film early. And he did not come away from this when he first gave me his initial thoughts as being as excited as I thought he would be, because Black Panther is like one of his favorite superheroes. He just said like the end battle though, and I was like, oh. And I'm gonna get into this a little bit right now while we're talking about it, Nick. The fight choreography in this film is good in parts, and in other parts it's not. I think the over-reliance on CGI really hurts the film when it needs to be its greatest, at least for the action audience. The ending battle will not age well. You know what it reminded me of, Nick? It reminded me of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, when Green Goblin and Spider-Man are fighting in Times Square.
Yep.
The CGI is just simply not good. Okay, we can tell that it's just CGI. It's not Chadwick Boseman and Michael B. Jordan in their costumes fighting. It's just an all CGI battle for the most part. And I think that really hurt the ending of the movie because it needed to pack that punch. That end battle needed to be epic.
If you think about how raw, like when you think about the two challenge scenes,
exactly,
those two fight scenes, like they're stripped bare. You know, they're bare chested. You know, it's them, just no Black Panther, no nothing. And those fights are a lot more brutal and a lot more visceral to watch than that end battle was. That end battle was just silly to me. Like it was kind of just a wet meh, like kind of a. Like it was this film was so strong leading up to that final battle, like that final act, and then it ended on a whimper rather than a bang for me.
As far as the fight's concerned, I feel like the ending of the film I love, but the end battle,
the end
battle for me was really lackluster. It's one of the only reasons, Nick, why my rating will be what it is when I get to it, because it brought it down a little bit. I couldn't help it. I mean, Coogler. Dude, with Creed, I mean, come on, fights. You see with these challenges earlier on in the film, fights. And even the opening battle where he goes into the jungle to save Nakia, it looks good. It's shaky cam in some parts, but it still looks good. And the ending battle is just two CGI Black Panthers in a CGI environment, and it didn't have what it needed to for me. But I will say this much though, as we move along here with the review, Nick, my favorite sequence is probably the nightclub / casino in Korea scene. I loved the opening to that. I loved the fights inside the nightclub, and then I loved the car chase. Fantastic, great energy, well shot. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, like I said, I think the action scenes just took, like, after, not even after, because really every action sequence except for the final one, I feel, is really, really good. I feel like all of them had a lot of great energy to them. All of them had the requisite tension that you should have in an action sequence, but that ending one just fell completely flat. Like, nothing felt like It was real. Nothing felt like it was actually at stake. No one felt like they were in any kind of danger in those final scenes. And like I said, I think that's, compared to what came before it, and I think we're probably as harsh on it as we are because of how great everything was that came before it. But
definitely.
It's just, it kind of fell flat on its face just to a small degree, just for a little bit. And it's going to take away from my overall rating of the film, honestly. But when you think about films like maybe Wonder Woman or something like that did sort of something similar, like that film was great up until you get to that CGI explosion fest final battle. It's comic book tropes 101. You have to have this big bombastic CGI final battle action sequence that takes place. And granted, we've got the next one we've got on the docket is Infinity War, which they're going to do that in. Definitely. It's the whole point of it is just a big, massive CGI battle piece. But I really, really wish comic book films would get away from this idea that they have to go with these big, massive CGI clashes at the end, just as part of the whole comic book trope. And I think that's one of the things that I've disliked the most about several of the last few comic book movies that I have seen, and even some of the ones that I've enjoyed. It's just move on. Move on.
I know.
From that. Get away from
the main thing is, Nick, is there's a lot of us that feel that way, but I think it's just them knowing that the general audience just expects it. The young kids expect it. Like I said,
it's 101. It's 101, man.
Yeah, I feel like it'll probably never happen where it goes away completely, unfortunately. But, for me, I was really hoping for a great end battle scene, and I didn't get it. But the rest of the film made up for it for me.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I can't say it enough. I can go back to it 1,000 times, but the cinematography in this film, the costume design work, and the production design work in this film are outstanding. Just incredible.
Fantastic.
And the score, we've got to talk about the score.
Yeah, man,
this is probably Marvel's best score.
It's my favorite score. It's my favorite Marvel score. My favorite Marvel score for sure. And I listened to it again today 3 times at work while I was working today. Not the soundtrack. The soundtrack is fine. I like some modern hip hop and rap.
There's some good tracks in there.
And I listened to that the other day too, but the score, man, oh my God, which interjects a lot of hip hop beats throughout.
It does.
The traditional
also
African,
a lot of that kind of ritualistic chanting and stuff like that.
Dude, the chanting, the tribal drums, the flutes, everything. It's so organic.
Yeah.
It feels so grounded and real, and you could feel it. I feel like I could lay down in the dirt in front of a fire in the desert and just listen to this music, and I would just be, I'm serious. It takes me somewhere, man. That's what a film score is supposed to do. Whereas most superhero scores, sorry, Marvel, yours are all forgettable. Do nothing that I can hum in my head and remember the next day. I loved it. Fantastic. And he's the same gentleman that scored Creed and Fruitvale Station for Coogler. So along with, again, he's keeping his team intact. Rachel Morrison, who did the stunning cinematography, she had done Fruitvale Station for Coogler as well. And you mentioned the costume design. Ruth Carter, she did Selma, she did Malcolm X way back in the day, and she did Amistad, dude. This woman is a veteran in the costume design field, and she just went above and beyond in her talents and delivered the most beautiful costume design I've seen in a film in recent years. I couldn't believe it. When you're in those scenes, Nick, and you're in Wakanda and you're going through the streets and you see T'Challa walking through with all of the people that live there, it's just mind-blowing how beautiful it is.
The one thing in this film, Justin, and there was really one thing in this film that kind of stuck in my craw just a little bit that I really wish it wouldn't have done, was, as much as I loved the 2 action sequences of the King Challenge, they could have shored that up, and they could have given Killmonger a bigger role in the first part of the film, and they could have just had him show up at the first challenge. And that could have been pushed maybe later in the film to be kind of the midpoint instead of in the first act. And I really feel like this film is just a little bit overlong for that regard. It does drag just a little bit. But, overall, aside from that, I really don't have a lot of other problems with this film. I was very, very happy when I walked out of the theater. I was actually, given the expectations I went into it with, I was more than satisfied and blown away a little bit by that. I really, really, really enjoyed this film. I enjoyed so many aspects of it. We've talked about all of them. So aside from, like I said, a couple of little nitpicks and a little things that I think could have been better, I really, really enjoyed it. So I'm going to stamp my rating on it right now. And sorry, all you haters over in the Hobster's Dumpster, but only one person correctly guessed my rating, and that was Brentley, an 8 out of 10, baby. I'm going 8 out of 10 on this guy.
Holy shit, dude.
I really, really enjoyed this film. I actually, honestly, I would sit down and watch this film again just for the incredible production design and the costume work, the score, the cinematography, the photographic aspects of this film. Just the visual aesthetic of this film is,
and as we talked about, you loved the performances
beautiful.
too. You loved the performances, so yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you could even discounting that, but then you just fold the performances into it, and it becomes that much better.
One thing that was special to me, Nick, is that we have our antagonist and our protagonist in the film both following a spiritual journey within themselves with their fathers, and I thought that was very special in this movie because they both are kind of following similar paths in a way. They're just on different sides of the coin. And I really enjoyed that because it really made them more split down the middle. As you said earlier on, T'Challa's more well-reserved. He's more focused, where Killmonger's more angry. He's more vicious. He's more violent. And they both played those characters perfectly. What makes this film special, Nick, and I'm going to get slightly political here, is it does get its political underthemes pushed in there slightly into the mix without being preachy. It never gets preachy, and that's the one thing that this film could have been.
Yeah,
it never gets there.
I don't think it was at all.
No, not at all. And this film realizes the African way of life in a way that you've never seen on film before, that no one ever cared to put on film before outside of documentaries. This is the film Ryan Coogler was born to make, and I'm so glad that they got this guy to make this movie. The film opens with a young African-American boy looking up in the air, and he sees a ship. He glances at the sky, and he sees a glimmer of light, and he wonders what that light is. And guess what? At the end of the film, we see another African-American boy looking at the same thing, and he sees a hero. He sees a hero that's in his image that he can now relate to, that he can now look up to. Yep. And this is something truly special for the African-American people all over the world and the African people in Africa. This could not have come out at a better time. And, a lot of people are saying, well, this film was being made just to be made. It needed to be made. This film has been attempted to be made since 1992. It's been, through development hell.
It's really funny, too, because when I was on and we did the Podfix Presents, I did it with Tomco from Jake and Tom Conquer the World. And we talked about that 2005 Wizard magazine and what was one of the films that was in development when they talked about it in that magazine.
Black Panther.
Black Panther.
That's
this
correct,
film has been... they've wanted to make this film forever.
I'm glad though, Nick. I'm glad they made it now. We finally have the technology, and I hate to say this because we like to give Marvel shit all the time on the show, but it had the care. You can tell they legitimately cared about this movie. They cared about who was making it. They cared who was acting in it, and they gave carte blanche to Ryan Coogler to make the film that he wanted to make to a certain extent.
This was more than an A+ delivery from everybody involved here.
Exactly.
From Coogler all the way down through the cast to the production team. Everybody brought more than their A game. Everybody really, really took it up another level. Like I said, a level beyond what I would normally expect from a Marvel film, and that's why I walked away from it with an 8 out of 10. Because it's like a lot of these Marvel films, and it's not to say that they don't have a lot of really talented people involved, but there are a number of them where it really feels like they're just phoning it in because they know they're going to hit $750 million at the box office. And this film doesn't do that at all. It doesn't pull any punches. It doesn't shortchange anything, maybe except for that final fight a little bit. But every other aspect of this is so well delivered that it literally blows everything else out of the water. It's phenomenal. It's really, really great.
And I got to say, my final notes here before I give my rating of the film, my favorite ending of a comic book movie in recent years, Nick, where the hero takes the villain up to see the sunset that he waited his whole life to see as he's dying and gives him a choice to still live. But the villain still dies with his morals and his way of life, and he dies a noble man as well. I was almost in tears. I loved the end of this movie. Thank you, Ryan Coogler. Thank you, Marvel, for making something different. And This is a very special movie for me. Probably, I have not made a definitive decision here, Nick, but probably my favorite solo Marvel film since Iron Man. I mean, no other film took me in, grabbed me, and pulled me in that deep. It's up for discussion and debate at some point, but I loved this movie. Still, the shortcomings that came with it and the ending battle and some things with the CG that I was not happy with. And I have to say, right off the bat, before I give my final rating, I didn't like the suit change. Sorry, I'm being nitpicky. I didn't like the change to the suit. Didn't care for the purple glow. I know why they did it, so that 2 Black Panthers could fight at the end. I get it.
Well, and we even mentioned it even early on, even when the first trailer came out for
The
this.
trailer,
I was
yeah.
a vocal critic of the fact that they literally just had Michael B. Jordan in another Black Panther suit. Like, I was like, couldn't you just do anything else? Like, literally anything.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like, you know, I get it where the plot went. It made sense for the story that they were trying to tell, but I still feel like they would have been better served to give him his own really nice kind of visual aesthetic. And like, that's why that fight that they have when he's challenging him is so much better than the end battle is.
Oh, dude, all of his little scars that he made him on himself, over his body. Amazing. Amazing. But you know what, Nick? Lock and step with you, man. A lot of our friends and our patrons over in the Dumpster were completely correct on my rating, at least. It looks like only one person was right on yours, but I'm giving Black Panther an 8 out of 10. It's almost to a 9. I gotta be honest. It's very, very close to a 9, but that the issues with the CGI and a few things with the ending fight, the ending was almost perfect for me, and it brought it down 2 points, but still very good. I loved Black Panther. I can't wait to see it again. This is the Marvel film to see, and it's a special achievement for all the filmmakers and all the people involved. See Black Panther.
Oh, yeah. So we are going to go ahead, Justin, and we're going to run into a quick break here. By the way, sorry, everybody over in the Dumpster. Nobody correctly guessed both of our ratings, so nobody gets to win the shirt this time. Brantley came the close. What do we say? We send him one anyway. What do you say we send Brantley one anyway?
Let's send him one,
the closest. He came the closest.
Brantley, you're getting a shirt, buddy.
You're getting a shirt, buddy, because you came absolutely the closest. He guessed yours was a 9, mine was an 8, and you said yours was almost a 9, so that's close enough. So Brantley, you're going to win a shirt.
If we did 0.5s, if we did, it'd probably be an 8.5.
Everybody else was guessing my rating was going to be at least a 6 or lower.
I know. I saw a 4 in there.
I did see a 4 in there.
Did I see a 0? Did I see a 0?
No, you did not see a 0 in there. You didn't see a 0 in there. I think they give us a little bit more credit than that. Dan Brenic came the second closest. So. He guessed 9 out of 10 and 7 out of 10 for me. He actually was a little bit more optimistic. Paul even said you have more faith in Nick than the rest of us.
I saw that. Well, hey, ladies and gentlemen, Nick can be swayed. It can be changed. He can like a Marvel movie.
And, Jared was pretty close. Robert was pretty close. Actually, a couple of these people were pretty. Yeah, Wes, 4 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, dude. Seems that they think you're a pretty close-minded gentleman, I guess.
You know what, Brantley, we're gonna send you an Epic Film Guys shirt because you definitely came the closest. You nailed my rating right on the head, and nobody else nailed my rating right on the head. So yeah, you're gonna win a free Epic Film Guys shirt. And in the next segment, Justin, we're gonna give away some stickers to everybody who answered in there and let us know what they thought of Black Panther. But until then, why don't we roll into a quick break, and we'll be right back with Epic Previews.
Hey, James, do you want to watch a movie?
Okay, Emily, what should we watch?
Maybe we should watch something to help us prepare for our next episode of the Classy Little Podcast.
Well, what's in theaters?
Oh, I actually know the answer to this because I listened to the Epic Film Guys podcast.
Oh, I love those guys. The Epic Previews, What You Drinking segment, Nick, Justin.
Justin's Lisp, Nick's Rants.
No, let's skip the movie and just binge listen to their show.
Oh, good idea. I'll get the popcorn and beer.
Nice. Do you know if they ever reviewed my favorite movie ever made? Kazam, starring Shaquille O'Neal. His masterful and subtle performance as a genie who raps and finds the joy in life in the gritty 90s world of New York. I mean, if you really analyze the film...
Hey, this is Paul.
And Wayne.
From the Countdown Movie and TV Reviews podcast.
And these are the 10 reasons you're listening to the Epic Film Guys Real Rundown podcast.
10, Justin.
9, Nick.
8, Film News.
7, Passionate Reviews.
6, Beer.
5, Nick's Rants.
4, Justin's Hobo Beard.
3, Entertaining Banter.
2, It's a Star Wars Circle Jerk.
Number 1, Nick is Seth Rogen's doppelganger.
So there you go.
Epic Film Guys Real Rundown podcast.
get involved.
Hi. You ready for this, Justin? Y'all ready for this? Stop
ganging up on me.
All right. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And we've got one more thing to do, Justin. It's something that we haven't done in a little while here on the Epic Film Guys podcast. Yeah, baby. It is time to get into a little bit of epic previews.
In the world of Endicott, New York and Herndon, Virginia, two epic film guys dissect the latest movie trailers in a segment we like to call Epic Previews.
You know what I say we should do? I say we should run these down in order of excitement. So, in that vein...
Oh, man. You're going to make me do this? Oh, are you making the decision for me, I take it?
Oh, no, because I already know we're going to start with the film that neither one of us is super excited for, and I don't necessarily know that this teaser really did anything to get us there. We're going to talk about Solo, a Star Wars story.
I've been running scams on the street since I was 10. I was kicked out of the flight academy for having a mind of my own. I'm gonna be a pilot. Best in the galaxy.
Hey, kid. I'm putting together a crew. You in?
That's yes.
It's actually funny because it only says Solo Star Wars story. It doesn't even say anywhere that I can see. Does it say Is there an Is there an A?
Know.
Is there an
But regardless, we're talking about, of course, the film that's going to... I don't even know what it's
come
trying
and
to
go.
do.
It's going to come and go.
It's going to... For a Star Wars film, this is definitely, I said it earlier, whimper and not a bang. I think is definitely probably going to be the appropriate response to this. I don't know anybody who's really looking forward to this. I don't know anybody who's all that excited for this. You've got Alden Ehrenreich playing Han Solo, of course. You got Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian. Chewie's in it. You got Woody Harrelson showing up in this, and your favorite actress of all time, Emilia Clarke from Terminator Genesis, and of course Game of Thrones.
Hey, let's make this clear here. I don't dislike her. She does a pretty good impersonation of Linda Hamilton in Terminator Genesis, but you know, there was this thing that came out a little while back where it was like, thank you, Disney, for showing diversity in the female characters that you're adding to your universe. They're all white, pale British women. 3 films in a row. Actually 4 if you count both. Seriously. Okay. Daisy Ridley. Okay. That was the first. And look, Emilia Clarke. Okay. Heavy, thick British accent here. All right, man. I mean, I don't mind them. I love them. They look beautiful. I love looking at them. I don't mind it, but they have a thing for white, pale, dark-haired British women. But, you know, as you just said, Nick, I have to second this. I don't know anyone. I have yet to meet anyone on the street, at Alamo Drafthouse, during film club, on social media, Instagram, you name it, that is like legitimately excited for this movie. Rogue One is a little bit different because, as we said prior to that film coming out, it's a war film, but it's Star Wars, and war is in the name Star Wars, so it makes total sense. But this... A lot of people are not all about seeing the character of Han Solo changed or played by someone else other than Harrison Ford. And I got to admit to you, man, I like Alden a lot, but he does not come off as Han Solo one bit to me. He doesn't. I don't feel Han Solo. I know he's young. I know he's pre-Star Wars Han Solo technically, but he just doesn't sound or look like him at all to like... It's hard for me to buy it. I'm not going to lie.
I just, and nothing about this really screams get out to the theater and see this movie. Of course we will, because we're the Epic Film Guys, and that's what we do, unless one of us says, no, we're not going to watch this movie, and then the other one puts up a poll over on Facebook to make him go see it.
Well, at least that's the thing that I'm going to do now.
At least it ended up being a little bit, much better experience than I gave it credit for. So, hey, there's that to take away from it. But regardless, this film, I'm not feeling it. I'm just not feeling it. I still have the grave concern that I'm going to walk into this and they're basically just going to retcon all of the development that was done for Han's character in the original trilogy, especially in A New Hope. And I just don't see what the need for this film is. There's a lot more interesting characters. There's a lot better characters. I won't say more interesting because Han Solo is definitely an interesting character, but he became interesting, I feel, at the beginning of Star Wars. And I'm not really sure what they could possibly do with this film that's really going to add to the Han Solo character. That's the most important thing. What is this going to add?
I don't think anything. Character? What can you add other than trying to change the character? I mean, we don't know what Lord and Miller had in store for us because they shot a lot of this movie. And then, of course, Kathleen Kennedy and Disney came in and said, we don't like what you're doing. And I guess they were butting heads pretty hard. They're basically like, fuck you, Kathleen. We're trying to make our own movie. You hired us. Let us make this movie. I guess they were really, really harsh when they were told that they weren't liking what they were doing. So they were fired, and we had Ron Howard come in. And let's make it clear, Ron Howard's not a bad filmmaker, but it's been a while since we've seen him, put out a really great movie or even a good movie where people are like, oh, you have to see that new Ron Howard movie. It just screams to me cash grab, unfortunately, because I mean, again, there's so many other characters. I mean, I feel like even your favorite Star Wars character of all time, Boba Fett, could have made a better solo film than this. I'm serious. At least he looks cool. But I mean,
sucked a dick last night.
See, when you get mouthy, I play the soundbite.
This is also going to be able to add some nostalgia because they're not going to be able to do it much longer unless they're going to do more prequels, Nick. So they can only go back in time for so long. So we can see Chewie for so long. He'll probably die. And,
what are we going to see next? Are we going to see the Luke Solo, the Luke Skywalker prequel where it's just him running his uncle's moisture farm on Tatooine and shit? We get to finally see him bullseye a Womp Rat in this D-16.
Something. Either way, for me, like the trailer.
Why does this film exist? Why does it even need to be? Why does it need to exist?
The only thing I'll give you is this. Donald Glover's amazing. I love him as an actor. And him as Lando, when I saw that poster come up with him as Lando, I'm like, that's what I want to see.
Perfect casting right there.
He looks great. So as long as we get a lot of Lando, I'll be able to get through this film, and I know Lando he's going to kill it.
Is a character that hasn't been explored as much in Star Wars mythos, so I'm fine with that. But Han Solo, we've gotten so
maybe this is their excuse. Maybe this was Disney's way of saying, Nick, like, you know what? We know a lot of people like Lando, so let's make it a Han Solo movie in name and title only, but like make it a Lando movie.
I'd be all about it. I'd be all about that shit.
How many people are like, I'm taking my kids this weekend to see the Lando Star Wars movie? No one's going to see that. Oh, Han Solo. Oh, yeah, Harrison Ford. I'll take my kids to that. I don't know. Either way, I mean, it's got a good cast. We'll see what happens. We're going to see it.
All right. Speaking of seeing what will happen, Justin, that's a perfect segue into our next teaser. And the only reason why I wouldn't put this one up above the trailer that we're going to review last is because we just don't get anything in this teaser. It's it's a teaser. Definitely a teaser. And this is
the true definition of a teaser.
Yeah, the true definition of a teaser for Venom. And Tom Hardy, of course, is going to be playing Venom.
Everyone's got their thing.
We don't get to see what Venom's going to look like. I mean, I have faith. Just given, like, the graphic that they end the trailer with, like, of the face. Like, I really do have faith that they're going to have a more Venom than we got in Spider-Man 3.
That's not even Venom. Let's face it, that's not even Venom. We all know that's not even Venom. Okay.
The B-Team Venom or something? I don't even know. But I'm really I'm optimistic for this. It is going to be R-rated, which I think is going to do it a great amount of service. I know Dan doesn't like the character, director Brenic. We love you, but I am interested to see what they do with Carnage in an R-rated film. I really think that they can take Carnage and they can make a really like badass, like brutal villain out of that character if treated right, and they're giving it the rating that it deserves to make that happen. And that was one of the things that I always had that kind of caveat. I was like, well, you can't use Carnage in a film unless it's R-rated because he's
we always talked about
killer.
that was something that everyone talked about. All the comic book fans had always said, like, well, we want Carnage, but we only want him in an R-rated movie. So the fact that we are getting that, Nick, with Venom in the same movie, which is why I think that they're keeping Spider-Man as a main character out of it, because you can't really have Spider-Man in an R-rated movie without having kids wanting to see it.
Yeah, and that's true. And I mean, I think it was an effective teaser because it did make me want to see more. It did leave me wanting a lot more. And you know what? From what I saw from the teaser, for the visual look of it, for kind of the little blips that we get here and there, I'm optimistic. I'll say that I'm optimistic, but of course we know this is Sony. Their track record, not so good when they're stepping out on their own. We'll see. I really don't have much else to say about it than that.
It's listed as horror, sci-fi, action. The one thing that came off to me when I first watched the teaser was it looks like a generic action movie. Like you see Tom Hardy. Well, it's not even Tom Hardy. It's a stuntman driving through a street and these two cars explode or whatever past him. But the tone and the look of it, it's very muted. It's very cold. It feels much more of a horror science fiction thriller, which is what I want a Venom movie to be.
And I think a lot of that is just because this teaser is early. This teaser's super early, so of course they're not going to be done with any of the effects work that's going to be required to realize Venom.
Yeah.
You know, so that's probably why we didn't get a shot of the character. And I said over on the Facebook page when we posted this trailer, I was like, I'm really thinking, this is before I watched it, of course, I was like, I think we'll get a brief glimpse of Venom, but we won't get Carnage. And we didn't even get Venom. So...
I'm almost happy that we didn't get it. We're seeing him turning, like with him screaming on, he's laying on his back. That's him turning into Venom. Make no mistake. That's what's happening. You can see the black coming over him as it goes black in the trailer. And when I watched it at home on my TV and on the computer just now, it didn't do as much for me. But when I saw the trailer with Black Panther, it had a little more effect. I think a lot of people are worried, Nick, that the director that's helming this thing, Ruben Fleischer, he's not known for anything. 30 Minutes or Less, okay? And he did Zombieland, which I love. I love Zombieland. He also produced one of your favorite films of the past 10 years, Gangster Squad, starring Sean Penn. I know how much you love that movie. And Ryan Gosling, my good old pal Ryan Gosling.
And Emma Stone. That was another Gosling and Stone joint.
And she's on the poster in a hot red dress. Oh my god! I forgot. I'm going to rewatch that movie just for that, just to hear her lisp while she's wearing that dress.
The lisp? He's coming back?
No, her little lisp that she has. You know, the cute little lisp.
You've been drawing lisp symbols all around town?
I don't believe in anything to do with the lisp.
I sucked a dick last night.
Emily.
All right, Emily. God. You better calm down
Not
there.
Necessary, Emily.
But Venom, I think I put it on my most anticipated of the year list just because I was late to the game on doing my list, and I felt like putting it on there.
I am optimistic.
We'll see. It's October. That's when horror films usually come out, so
yeah,
I want to see more.
I think the first look of Venom is really what's going to sell this film to a lot of the fanboys and a lot of the people out there who are like me, like you, like we're optimistic about it, but we're kind of holding our cards closer to our chest. Like we want to see Venom. We want to see what that character is going to look like. Is he going to be the big hulking dude? Are they going to go a more CGI route where we're really going to see this character realized like classically like he is in the comics and not that weird ultimate version fucking thing that they did in Spider-Man 3? And not even, I'll be the guy that says it. I don't think that was necessarily a bad direction to take that character. It was the way he was forced into that movie that made him bad. And that was the worst part about that, is the way that
the character never fit into that movie in the first place. He never needed to be in the movie. He never was supposed to be in the movie.
Yeah,
poor Sam Raimi.
Close.
Yeah, so we'll leave that be for now. We'll see what happens.
From one R-rated superhero film to another, Justin, and this one I am through the fucking roof excited for. This is the full trailer now for the sequel to Deadpool. I got to know. I don't think I've talked to you about this really. I've got to know what you thought about this trailer.
Oh man, I mean, come on, dude. Who isn't excited for the second Deadpool movie? It looks fantastic to me. I love how Ryan Reynolds takes a little jab at Justice League in the trailer. You can't help but laugh at that. It's not like it's it's not like taking off a mustache. And he's having fun with that.
What? Not to derail you or anything, but did you see that? Well, I think somebody posted to the page, or I think you might have, but the poster of Mission Impossible Fallout that somebody photoshopped where they put the parachute made out of his mustache over Henry Cavill.
I did not see that.
It's a picture of Cavill in the film, but his mustache is the parachute that another character is swinging. All I'm going to be able to think about when I watch that movie is Justice League. That's all I'm going to be able to think about.
I'm Cable, and I'm from the future, and I like blowing shit up.
Pew, 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 pew. Reach for the sky!
Oh no, Sheriff Deadpool.
You know, you're a lot taller in the...
Shut up, you little asshole. Take this.
Oh! Regeneration powers, activate!
That's not something you say.
Zip it, Cable!
I got the stones to help you.
No! No biting. They're done already? Oh, wow, that was unrealistically fast. Okay, hit it.
I feel like these are the movies we need, man. We need Deadpool. Deadpool needs to come in, and he needs to just take us away, make us laugh, make us enjoy ourselves at the theater. And it's giving Ryan Reynolds a resurgence in his career. I mean, let's face it. Who the fuck went to see R.I.P.D.? I sure as hell didn't see it in theaters, and I still haven't watched it to this day. He's the great choice for this role. He always has been, and we all loved the first Deadpool. It was a smash hit. I don't know anyone that disliked it. I can't wait for the sequel. I know that a lot of people were hoping for a lot of different other actors to play Cable, but I think Brolin is selling it really well in this. I think he's fantastic for the role, and I think he's perfect for it.
Yeah, I love the comedic bits in this trailer. I really, really think that they all land really, really well. I mean, obviously, some of it's just bits for the trailer. I mean, like, you've got Deadpool playing with the fucking action figures. I mean, come on.
That's me, man. That's all me, dude.
The marketing for these films, man, it was great in the first film, and they're knocking out of the park once again with the second film with all of these just way out there marketing gimmicks. Where, I mean, you think about how much footage of the actual movie you get in this movie, or in this trailer. Think of how much actual footage you get for the movie in this trailer, and how much of the rest of it is just gags. Just dumb gags that they
exactly.
For the
and you know how awesome it is that the studio has enough faith in it, and they're being as free as they are with just allowing something
this film's
like this.
Going to be massive. It's going to be huge.
It's so great. That's creative freedom. That's, again, going back to what you were talking about earlier when we were reviewing Black Panther. It's a breath of fresh air to see studios being like, fuck it, let them do whatever they want. It worked for the first one. You know,
I mean, given how much money that movie made the first time around, I don't think Fox is at all concerned with this film not knocking it out of the park. And I really think that it's one of those hand the keys of the kingdom over, just let them do their thing. And I'm really, really hoping that it's going to provide even riper fruit, I would say, than the first film did. Because if it's better than I mean, it's going to be hard to be better than the first film, but it just needs to be as good. It just needs to be as good.
That's it. That's all it really needs to be. You're totally right. There's no way I feel like it'll be able to do what the first film did, because it was the first film like it was, where it had that kind of fourth wall breaking. You know, it had the humor. It was grotesque. It was raunchy. It was something completely different from anything else we had seen before it. And since we haven't seen anything else like it since. So
very true.
I just hope that it captures the character as well as the first film did, and I have pure faith in everyone in it. And of course, we know who's helming it now, you know, so I can't wait for it, dude. It's definitely something to look forward to.
It's a high point. It was high in my list of most anticipated films for the year for a reason, and I'm just sky high expectations for it. I really, really hope that it knocks it out of the park. And you know, I really think, judging from what we've seen so far, I really think they're holding a lot of their cards closer to their chest. They're just letting their marketing do the work. And I think that once again, like the first film, this thing is just taking it to the next level. I mean, you saw that one picture of Deadpool painting a picture of Brolin as Cable, but he was painting it as a picture of his character from the Goonies.
I posted that to the page, and I loved it. And I was waiting for you to come in and be like, piece of shit, I fucking hate it. Fuck this. I hate the fucking Goonies. It's the worst movie ever made.
Well, dude, I do hate the Goonies, but I still loved that artwork. That was great.
Dude, that poster went viral. That's the kind of marketing you do. Like, I feel like studios don't understand. All you have to do is grab your audience. It's as simple as that. Grab them in a certain way, make them remember it. And like, we're sitting here weeks after it came out and we're talking about it because it was funny. Dude, Please, studios, you'll make
we
way
are
more
super
money.
late to the game, by the way, on these trailers. We know, we just haven't had a regular show. I mean, Justin and Loy Sauce did their Arnie retrospective. The Master Debaters, those guys came in and did their, top 10 overrated films, which was great. Thank you guys so much for taking over the show. They did another one of their, live things where they went to a theater when Black Panther was opening. They were running around asking people random questions. Those guys are hilarious. Please check out their show if you haven't had a chance to. It's amazing. And of course, last week, the goddess of podcasting herself, Emily Prokop from The Story Behind from E-Podcast Productions, formerly of the Classy Little Podcast, was on the show.
Check sound.
No, Loy Sauce, we didn't say god of podcasting. We said goddess of podcasting. Get him out of here. Damn it.
I can't help it. I'm sorry. He just wants to get the limelight, man. He's jealous. He's mad. He's not. Dude, I know what he had to say about Black Panther. He's mad you didn't invite him on for the show, so you might have to feel his wrath. I don't know, man.
Oh, I do not want to feel the wrath of the sauce. No one wants to feel the wrath of the sauce. But Justin, it's time to wrap things up for the show this evening.
When you say wrap it up, do you want me to really wrap it up all the way, or can I pull it out halfway and then just pull out?
Whatever. Yeah, that went in a completely different direction that I did not anticipate.
I'm just thinking about it. I mean, is
the lisp
recording?
Here? Lisp, is that you?
No, of course not. I mean, I love you.
Have to play the I Suck Your Ween song?
Do I have to be gay to feel this way? This is so unfortunate that you think this way of me. I don't even know what to do.
Oh, my God. But ladies and gentlemen, before we roll out into the show, because we haven't talked about it in a few weeks, remember, live stream for The Cure 2.0 is coming May 18th through the 20th. 30 hours of live streaming content. 30 hours. It's going to be off the chain. We've got a ton of great podcasts already signed up to take part in the event. We're going to have a lot of fun. Oh, no.
Hey, I was going to ask you. Oh, yeah, Justin let me in the door a few minutes ago. You probably didn't hear him open the door because he was probably ignoring you.
I sucked a dick last night.
He might have sucked mine. I gave him a couple shots of whiskey one night out near the dumpster outside Ned Devine's. I want to know how I get to be part of this special thing you and Justin and that Lois Choss gentleman are doing. This live stream for The Cure thing. How do I be a part of this special occasion? And can I get drunk for free?
I don't think anybody'd be able to stop you from being a part of it, even if they wanted to.
I just want some free booze. I don't mind being part of a good cause as long as it helps people and I get drunk out of it. Remember, I'm homeless, so a good cause helps me in any way possible. A few double G's, a half, smoked cigarette that you left on the ground 4 days ago. I'll smoke that too. I don't give a fuck. Just give me something. I'd like to help out others too that are in need.
Oh, my Lord in heaven. What the hell?
You sucked his dick.
There we go. Yeah, I don't know if anybody would be able to stop you from being a part of it if they really wanted to, but I heard, actually, Mr. Hopester, since you're on the air, I heard that you sent a special note to one of our fans over in the Hopester's Dumpster with some stickers. A special note, and they're going to get some special swag just because of that.
I may even have jizzed on the envelope to get it closed. Who knows? I like to do all kinds of things with envelopes, because they look so white and pretty and clean. You got to make it a little dirty. It's not any fun if you send it out looking normal and plain.
Oh, but yes, we have sent out a ton, and I mean a ton of stickers out to our patrons over in the Hopester's Dumpster. If you're not a member of the Hopester's Dumpster, that's where the action is. We just gave away a t-shirt to Brantley Oliver tonight. And Justin, we're going to give away something else. We're going to give away some stickers right now, right here on the show to everybody who responded over in our Black Panther thread. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready. I think the Hopester weighed his way out to the balcony. I think he found a half-smoked cigarette on the balcony underneath mine, so I think he's out of the way for now. I'm ready. Ladies and gentlemen, our winner is
Toffa from the Master Debaters. How about that? We were just talking about him taking over the show a couple of weeks ago to do their most overrated films. We're sending some stickers to the UK, Justin. How about that?
Wow.
You won 3 Epic Film Guys stickers. When you do one of your drive-bys, just slap them on the foreheads of, I don't know, random British subjects, I guess.
Do something. Put
Thank
them
you,
somewhere.
everybody. I'm going to do this more often, too, because I like putting this up here. Guess our ratings, and you can, you can be entered to win a prize or whatever. So, yeah, thank you all very, very much for weighing in over there. And, yeah, I'm sorry that so many of you were so not optimistic about my rating of Black Panther.
And I'm so happy you were wrong, and I'm so happy I was wrong, because this is what we need. We need Nick to be happy about seeing more movies, especially a lot of the same movies.
The hell was that? Just hold your ass up to the microphone and just shit yourself? Is that what that was?
Shh, I think the Hoopster's coming back. Hold on.
Don't let him in.
Okay, I locked it real quick. I locked the door. Okay. I hear him pacing around in the hallway. For some reason, like he jumped off the balcony and he came back in from the outside door and he made his way back inside the hallway. I don't know what he's doing, but
just
I'm not
throw
letting
an
him back
empty
in.
beer bottle out there. He'll probably smash it against the wall and lick it.
Dude, no, there's like someone that smashed a bottle of ketchup on the ground the other day. And I think I could hear him out there licking it. Like, I'm serious. That someone like dropped a bottle of ketchup, and who knows what he's doing. But, ladies and gentlemen, we got to thank you so much. It's been so long since you've had a regular episode of the show. It's been a blast being on the show this evening. I just look forward to these regular shows. I miss talking movies, reviewing movies, talking about trailers, and of course, talking to Nick.
Yeah. I do love these regular episodes. I mean, because they're fun, because they're awesome, and because they're much easier to edit, because I only have Justin to worry about. So I only have to worry about cutting out all of Justin's audio foibles instead of trying to chase down everyone else's, which can be a little more of a daunting task, unfortunately. But yeah, it's awesome fun. Next week on the show, Justin, assuming it opens here, that is, we are going to be talking about a film that both you and I are very, very excited for. Made both of our most anticipated films of the year list. We're talking Alex Garland's Annihilation.
I'm super excited for it, man. I'll be seeing it on Wednesday evening at our local Alamo Draft House, DC area, with Loloy sauce, hopefully. I know he was trying to plan something special.
Sauce.
We'll see what happens, but I'm taking the whole family. That's right. I'm even taking Kaya to see this thing. I hope it's not too gory. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know anything about the damn movie. Other than it's based on a book and it's Alex Garland, so maybe we'll see some robot tits again. I don't know. But I'm really, really excited for it. I can't wait, dude.
Yeah, I think all any of us really wants is robo tits in life. Is that not
That's
it?
fair.
My girlfriend sucked 37 dicks.
In a row?
Well, except for Dante's girlfriend, she just wants to suck dicks.
It is fun, though. I mean, well, if you're the Lisp, of course.
Well, if you're the Lisp, I mean, 37's just like, that's how you pregame for the night. That's just how you get started. That's how you get warmed up. But yeah, there it is. Ladies and gentlemen, Black Panther. There you go. Go see it. If you haven't seen it already, most people have seen it. If you're listening to this, I'm sure you have seen it by now. And yeah, we look forward to talking Annihilation. And then the week after that, Justin, it's time to talk Oscars. The week after next will be the week of the Oscars. We get to talk about all the winners. We get to talk about how wrong you were about everything, like usual. We get to talk about how
there's
right
a little
I was.
special something, Nick.
No.
There's a little special something happening that exact weekend that I have yet to announce on the show. I'm waiting till it actually happens so I don't jinx myself. It'll be very special for me to talk about in the show, and I can't wait to talk about it. So
I know what it is. I know what it is.
You
Spoiler
know what
alert,
it is.
guys. Spoiler alert.
But
sucked your dick last night.
That's what's going to happen.
You're usually well behaved enough to the point where I can trust you, but after you just post your, after you, I'm dead. I'm dying.
I sucked a dick last night.
Well, Paul, I don't know what that has to do with anything, and I'm ashamed for you, sir. Ashamed for you. Ladies and gentlemen, Again, we are the Epic Film Guys. Find us all over social media and all over the web. Just search for Epic Film Guys, and I promise you will find us. We are steamrolling toward the month of May, toward the live stream for The Cure 2.0, which is going to be a massive, massive, amazing event. Check down in the show notes if you want to find out all of the amazing places that I have been whoring myself out podcast-wise over the past few weeks, which is a lot. I'm going to be recording this weekend with Fuzzy D from Who Spiked the Puns, a member of our Podfix network, and he and I are going to be talking about Resident Touch of Evil. What they do is they take two films with similar titles and they smash them together, and they try to make, crossover characters work. So Resident Evil and Touch of Evil are the two films that we're going to be talking about. So I can't wait to try to smash those.
I'm glad that you do all the hard stuff. Man. I'm really glad that you do all the hard stuff.
We have a great network. We have a great group of people that we love to talk to. I was on So I Married a Movie Geek, lamentably, and we talked about the last two 50 Shades of Grey movies. It was an amazing fun time. We got to shit all over them, and we played a sexy game of what was it? Would You Rather? I think maybe, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was a super sexy game anyway.
I'm gonna buy those movies if they come out in Ultra 4K HD.
Jesus.
Just so you know.
You get to see a lot of Dakota Johnson titty and some tuft, some Jamie Dornan tuft. That's exactly what we came to refer to it as, because he's got it contractually obligated that he will not show his wang. So the most you get is like some top shaft, and that's
how lame is that? How lame is that?
I know, right?
That's a fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Who wants that? Well, women are going to see just that. They can go on their phone in the bathroom at the theater and see more than that in 2 seconds.
I know.
What a jip. What a jip.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very, very much for listening. You guys are amazing, and we love you, and you are the reason we continue to do the show and why we will always do the show, because you guys are just the busies, nizzies, or something.
You're the best. You're the best.
We love you, and you guys are amazing. For myself, for Justin, for Loy Sauce. Where is he? Loy Sauce, get your ass in here right now.
Check. Sound check.
No, it's not time for sound checks. We're time to wrap out the show, Loy Sauce. And for everything else, I don't even fucking know anymore. Whatever. It's over. The end. Thank you all very, very much for listening. And
we will see you at the movies.
I sucked a dick last night.
Emily,
I'm sure
why?
you did, Emily.
Why?
From the Podfix Network. You can check out more shows like it at podfixnetwork.com.